Welcome back to Table Talk. I would like to introduce our first guest who has visited Channel 6 many times over the years to educate our viewers on some serious issues that concern all of us. I'd like to welcome District Attorney General Miss Lisa Zavogiannis.
Thank you, Karen.
Thank you for being here. This is a very serious subject today. We're going to talk about elder abuse, which is, once we talked, you mentioned that there was a lot to talk about with elder abuse. I started doing some research, and it's amazing all the different kinds. So let's just start with the basics. What are some types of elder abuse that are out there?
Well, we have elder abuse is just like child abuse. You have physical abuse, you have neglect, you have sexual abuse, but the one thing that you don't have in child abuse that you have in elder abuse is the financial abuse.
Mm-hmm. So talk to us about the financial part of it. What all does that, well, maybe just every part of it. What all, we know what sexual abuse is. Mental abuse, that can be, I guess, just cruelty, maybe not taking care of them properly. And then what would the financial aspect of it be?
The financial aspect, which is probably the largest segment of abuse that we have, is where they are being exploited by a family member, by a scam. We have a tremendous amount of scams going on in the community. Mm-hmm. But we see a lot of the family members exploiting their relatives, elder relatives for money.
Mm-hmm. And I guess that could include caregivers, anyone that's in the home that they probably trust.
Well, that's how they get access to their money.
Right.
And yes, it is anyone in the home.
Mm-hmm. So let's talk about, what makes senior citizens vulnerable to this abuse.
Well, I think what makes them vulnerable is, first of all, they're very trusting, and oftentimes they're lonely. Oftentimes they need someone to care for them. Mm-hmm. They need access to medical treatment. Mm-hmm. And so those are the things that make them vulnerable.
Mm-hmm. That need for companionship or friendship. I guess someone comes into the home and gets their trust, and then the next thing you know, they're kind of looking at the bank account numbers and things like that, seeing financial statements and things that gives them more information probably than what they need. And then, like you said, trust. And that need for companionship and friendship is something that would make anybody vulnerable. So I can understand that. So what are some of the signs that we're looking for with elder abuse?
Well, I don't know that there's a stereotypical signs per se that you look for. You look for them just something that changes. Mm-hmm. If you notice that your neighbor who maybe was coming out to water her flowers every day, has a new guest in their home, mm-hmm. and so maybe they change their activities. They don't come out and water their flowers every day. Mm-hmm. That would be a red flag, to be looking at your neighbor and saying, hey, is something going on there? Mm-hmm. Anything that changes in their normal day-to-day routine, mm-hmm. I think is a red flag. Mm-hmm. It's hard to find elder abuse cases, in a sense, mm-hmm. because they're often hidden.
I could imagine. I'm sure that maybe once the victim realizes that it's happened, they're a little embarrassed that they opened themselves up to that.
They're much harder to come up with a solution to help them. It's very difficult in elder abuse cases. It's not like child abuse cases. In child abuse cases, you have foster homes. If necessary, you can remove that child from the home and place them somewhere else. Elderly people, you can't do that with. Mm-hmm. And sometimes they don't want your help. Mm-hmm. So there are lots of challenges when you're looking at helping someone who's being mistreated. Mm-hmm. We have had instances where they've told us just to leave. They don't want our help.
I can think of an instance back a week or so ago, message on Facebook. There's a couple of elderly gentlemen. They don't have access to, I think it was water, and they tried to get someone in there to fix their plumbing, and they didn't want the help, Mm-hmm. So a lot of pride involved.
There is, and you know, you can't, their free will. They have a right to decide for themselves. Now, at some point, if they become unable to decide for themselves, and the court system may grant a guardianship or a conservatorship or a power of attorney, there may be ways that you can actually help them. But so those are some of the challenges we have. But you know, at the rate that our elderly people are aging, we're getting ready to have a silver tsunami. So we're going to have to look at this very seriously and start taking action in order to help them.
Well, I would think too, you know, not only do you have a large population that is going to be in that situation, the family these days are very spread out. You've got children living in other states. They can't check on mom and dad and Aunt Betty like they would like to. There's just, and then, you know, you've got broken families and things like that. You know, divorces and things like that have changed the family dynamic. And then I would think that even the drug issues that are rampant in America cause a lot of the abuse and the problem.
They do, and I think one of our problems in this community and throughout this state is the fact that we need to educate the community on their obligation to report. Because there is a statutory obligation to report elder abuse.
So let's talk about that. You know, if somebody suspects that maybe a family member or you know, someone in their family is being abused, or just a neighbor or whatever, what do we do?
Well, of course, the first thing you should do is call Adult Protective Services. And that phone number should be in the phone book, or if you just get on Google, it'll pop up Adult Protective Services in Tennessee and get that number. You can report online also. But if that's not feasible for you to make that report to Adult Protective Services, you can call my office, 473-9572, or you can call the sheriff's office or the police department.
Now, can you do that anonymously?
You can.
Okay, so sometimes people don't want to get involved.
But when I say anonymously, what I mean is, if you're calling me to tell me of an elder abuse case, I'm going to need to know basic facts. I'm going to need to know who you are. But just because I know who you are doesn't mean anyone else knows who you are. So I have a duty not to disclose that, and I would not disclose that.
Right. So whenever you call in and, you know, express, it can be just concern that, hey, things aren't normal at the neighbor's house.
Well, I would need to know exactly what you mean by that. So I would need to know some basic information to have a good discussion with you in order to find whatever is going on in that home.
This is very enlightening. It's a problem that, you know, we just are so, our antennas are up on child abuse, but this is just a whole nother facet of abuse that goes on in America that we just haven't given a lot of thought about until you certainly bringing things like this to light. So we're very appreciative of that. We, you know, want to thank Lisa for being here today, and Brian is going to continue our interview with Lisa and talk about some of the changes to elder abuse law and then the staggering statistics about elder abuse. All that up next on Table Talk.